Hey everyone, welcome back to Inland Empire Coach Talk. Today I have the head basketball coach from Rancho Verde. Brendan, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell the folks a little bit at home about yourself, your program, how you came to Rancho Verde.
I'm Brandon Baker. I coach at Rancho Verde High School. I'm also a biology teacher there. I've been there for about 11 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I started out at several different schools before that, though. I went to Cal State Fullerton. Actually played at Merida Valley High School, actually. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go back that far, played at Merida Valley, and then went to Cal State Fullerton, got my degree and stuff like that, and then got into coaching, which I started out at Vista Merida, Chaparral, teams back down in that area, Merida Valley as well, and then got my first actual kind of coaching and teaching gig after several years, because it was 2008, 2009, right when all the layoffs were happening with teaching. Mm-hmm. So kind of had to sub and do a bunch of stuff during that time. And then Coach Showalter, I got in touch with him, and he was the coach at Rancho Verde. And they needed a freshman and JV coach and stuff like that. They already had several coaches, him and Coach Dawson and Coach Severs there. And then, I got my teaching started off there. And then Coach JV for a little bit, helped with varsity. And then eventually Coach Showalter became the AD. Coach Dawson became the head coach for a year, and then left to Poly, or left to King, and then went to Poly. And then Coach Severs was the head coach a year, and then he stepped down to be an admin, and it kind of just opened up like that for me, which I wasn't expecting at all. Going there as a JV coach, you don't expect to be the head coach in 4 or 5 years when there's 3 head coaches ahead of you. So that was kind of cool, actually, learning under them, and then getting to have my first gig, and then we won CIF in 2017, so second year coaching. And then the next year after that, we were in the open division for basketball. When I first started there, too, I coached football. I do volleyball now, too, boys volleyball. I got that started. And then, I've coached several sports like that. So it's kind of what I like to do. It's unfortunate we're not doing it right now, but I got to go to conditioning in a minute. So at least we're getting back to it now, hopefully starting and get our season kicked off.
Absolutely. I always love hearing people's journeys and how things open up for them, because everyone's story is different. And also you talk about the argument that's going on right now with Deion Sanders, he just stepping into the program versus the homegrown and the people that develop under a legendary coach and then get to see that philosophy and get to kind of bring in their own cultures as they grow. So talk a little bit about the people and the pillars that have helped you, because Cal State Fullerton has some brilliant coaches as well. Right. You look at the Augie Garridos of the world that were there, and same thing with Horton and whatnot. But
I studied under Ken Revisa too. I had his classes, and he's one of the top sports psychologists. So
absolutely,
yeah. There's amazing people at Fullerton.
I had Dio Sacido on the program a few weeks ago, and he speaks about him all the time and how he's been a pillar. So talk about the pillars that have kind of created your culture and your mindset as a coach.
I would say, started off as a kid, I played every sport. My dad got me in every sport, coached at every sport that I played in. We played club soccer. My dad started all the baseball. I played baseball until I was a freshman in high school as well. Football, basketball, club soccer. My dad started, like I said, the youth basketball down there, youth soccer leagues. He was involved in all of that. So, me being around all that kind of drove me into coaching as well. So that was kind of my biggest influence, because he always coached our sports. I have 2 sisters and a brother. They all played. So we grew up and married up just playing sports all the time. And different sports, it was my mom is a joke. She has the minivan, and drive everybody around to practices, after every day. So that's kind of how it started. And then, from there, just, after that, like I said, after school, went to, Cal State Fullerton, and then just decided I wanted to get into coaching. I loved it. I still wanted to stay around sports and everything. And then I was supposed to be a PE teacher, but ended up in biology. No PE jobs anywhere, so but I still love the sciences and stuff like that, so that's awesome. And then like I said, got my first real kind of teaching gig at Rancho Verde, and I've been there the whole time. And then the biggest influence too were Coach Terabilda, Coach Forzette at Merida Valley, who I played for. They're pretty much in the Hall of Fame of coaching and stuff, and their philosophy was defense, play defense first, and man-to-man defense straight up, and then run good offense. And they wanted us to chin the ball and pass the ball 10 times before we shot it, that kind of thing. And they had great, influence coaches for them too. And then after that, I worked for Coach Coyle. He's in the Hall of Fame too, from Chaparral. And then I worked with Coach Ruth over at Vista Marietta. And then, like I said, Coach Dodson and Coach Showalter were probably the biggest influences I learned, and Coach Sievers as well at Rancho Verde. Just learned so much. I just literally would just sit there at practice and just soak it all in and take notes, and like be on my phone just taking notes of everything they're saying, everything they're doing. And then I just kind of incorporated that into my own culture, and it's worked. This whole time we've had a lot of success. The last 5 years as a head coach, and then have great assistant coaches. But then this whole time in COVID, I've literally been on podcasts like this with just watching other coaches too. Multiple coaches. There was just one yesterday to Tommy Haymaker from Harvard. I just watched other college coaches and they talk about it. Another one from North Alabama, Coach Pujol. I just watched him 2 nights ago, and all he talked about is how they do everything on defense. So I'm constantly soaking it up and learning new things, and constantly taking in new ideas and learning from the best of what they do. And I think that's kind of how Coach Spoelstra from the Miami Heat and the Lakers coach, that's how they started out too. Just video guys, and then learn from the best. So I think that's the best route to take when it comes to coaching.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you talk about a few things. One, that you played a lot of different sports, and also that you're constantly learning, because I think both are very important, especially nowadays. We're kind of living in that specialization, club, travel, sports mentality right now, where kids are specializing at the age of 9. And I'm like, no, go out and be an athlete.
Exactly.
So I love the fact that you're getting a lot of different angles, because like I was watching a podcast like you were with Tom Izzo, and they were talking about that everything is a tool in a toolbox. You can go to Costco and buy a 187-piece tool set. Right. But if you only ever use one tool, are you really maximizing that tool set?
Exactly.
Versus, okay, you may learn from this resource here. BSN puts out a podcast here, versus the NBA, and they have a round table with athletes, strength and conditioning coaches, a baseball philosophy, a football philosophy here and there, and it can all bring together the same culture, because all of us have a common goal as a coach, and that's to win.
Right, exactly.
And that's to maximize our athletes. I don't care if you're talking about defense first, offense first, doing a diamond, doing man, like all the different strategies are designed to build a system that will win with the talent you have on the field or on the court. So I love both of those elements that you're talking about so early on in a career.
Yeah.
And you spoke about the success. So what has made you guys very successful in the first 5 years?
Rancho Verde is known for, we have guys in the NFL. We have guys that played in college, multiple basketball players. And I think, it's come down to the coaching and just the culture at the school, too. It's not just about athletics there. It's about, athletics and education, but our admin and our coaches put a high priority on investing in our athletes. Like, we even have an NCAA counselor that brings every athlete in and talks to them and gets them ready to go to school and make sure they're on their grades, and is constantly calling them and their parents, and making sure their grades are ready to go. And it's just just a culture there, and that's why I love being there, because it's we're supported. The district supports us. They support Citrus Hill and Orange Vista too. Like, those are really good schools as well too in all the sports. So just comes from all the support there. But then like I said, it's just developing the culture, and it's not for everyone at Rancho Verde. Like, we've had guys transfer in and didn't work out for a couple of days because they were like, no, this isn't for me. And but I think because we stuck to it, I didn't take over the program and go, I'm gonna do it my way.
Yep.
It was working, and Coach Dawson, Coach Showalter, and Coach Sievers did a tremendous job. They won CIF in, I think, 2010 as well, and beat Mater Dei and stuff like that, and had CF Gatorade Player of the Year and whatnot. And he went to Florida State, and we've had athletes, so I think that helps. But then you also got to coach the athletes, and teach them how to be great people. So we have meetings like this with my team at least once a week. Right now it's on Zoom, of course, but we talk about stuff that has nothing to do with basketball. How to be a good person, how to be successfinto in life. What are other things besides basketball you might want to do? So, we kind of not only just focus on basketball, but actual, getting to be good people afterwards. And I think if I brought in all the guys here that played in Rancho Verde, you'd be like, oh man, these are some, outstanding guys. And that's more, I'm more proud of that. Their success, not even just basketball or playing college or playing the NBA, like they're just real good people. You know, they come back to practice all the time and they're making more money than I do, you know, like, and they got a successful business, or they, you know, they're just real good dudes, a real good dad or something like that. So I'm more excited about that than I am about, you know, all the basketball stuff. So
absolutely. I love the fact that you guys set the expectation, like even on your shirt, champions are made here.
Right.
Where it's like, this is the expectation. This is the way that we're going to do it. I can't tell you how many shirts we've done as BSN that this is the way.
Right.
It used to be like the Rev way, and everyone
we have the Mustang way.
Yep.
So we have that one too. But
and everyone has that. But now that the Mandalorian's out, everyone's like, oh, this is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah. And I'm like, hashtag this is the way. I'm like, all right, well, we know what the pop culture tagline is for.
By the way, the Mandalorian comes out real soon. I think I can't wait.
2.5 weeks.
So the COVID killed me because I've never watched TV or you know, Netflix, and now I watched every.
No, you binged everything.
Binged everything, like especially the Mandalorian, because I love all the Star Wars and all that stuff. So, but yeah, that show was awesome.
We need to get you a Mandalorian night.
I know, that'd be cool.
Once we have fans back and just have a Mandalorian.
Well, we do a Midnight Madness. So I do that. That's one of the things I added there. And we do a Midnight Madness every year for the seniors and put on like it's almost like a huge assembly. And I put that on with my ASB. And we have a DJ, we got dunk contest, we got ex-players come and play and be in the dunk contest. So that's kind of cool that it's almost like a high school. Like we turn off the lights and give everybody glow sticks and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost kind of like CBUs, but not thousands of people. You know, it's only 200, 300 people, but it's still kind of cool. So all the guys really love that.
Everything's always about scalability too. I remember one of my fondest memories in high school was the lock-ins that we used to be able to have.
Oh yeah,
where you're trying to stay up all night.
Yep.
And I felt bad for ASB directors back then because trying to figure out what you're going to do with
the whole
high
night.
School kids and try to keep them entertained for 12 plus hours.
Yeah, that's what we did for our grad night in Marietta. We had like a lock-in in the gym. You know, they had like a magician and a casino and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you had to stay there till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yep.
But I remember, I still remember it now. It was like, because it was that cool. Like, it was that awesome. Like, oh, we're in the gym all night, you know?
Yeah, I think there's several things that when you talk to most people about their high school experience, yes, you're going to remember prom. You're going to remember if you get a championship or a playoff berth and you have that opportunity. But most of the time, I don't remember who we won or lost against or what I batted or if I made the shot or not. I remember the bus trips.
Yep.
I remember the two-a-days. I remember going and doing my homework in hockey pads at the rink at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, waiting for a 7 o'clock game and chilling with my buddies.
Exactly.
So I think spending more time and getting to know people and being analog in this digital age is extremely important still.
Right.
So talking about analog in a digital age, we're now in the middle of kind of a dark zone with COVID. So talk to me about March 13th. Where were you? How'd it go? Man,
I remember that like it's yesterday too. You know, like I was in class. It was a rainy day. We were just talking about this on Zoom with the players too because they all remember it. You know, and it was kind of like I didn't even clean up my classroom because I was like, we'll be back in a couple weeks. You know, we'll be back in 2 weeks or something. It's just going to shut down real quick. I remember at school, everyone was kind of freaked out. Like the students were kind of freaked out. Like half of them didn't come that day.
Yep.
You know, and then I remember going to Winco afterwards, and it was like everyone's freaking out, like taking all the toilet paper, you know, like all this weird stuff. And I was going to Winco just to get, you know, on the way home, just to get, you know, normal groceries, and all these people are taking 4 baskets of stuff, and I'm going, all these people are freaking out. What's going on? Well, now it kind of makes sense, but you know, at the time it didn't really make sense. I wasn't that freaked out about it. So yeah, it's been weird 6 months, weirdest 6 months of my life, pretty much. A lot of home time, but at least you get to spend a lot of time with the family, you know, a lot of time with the kids, and time I didn't have before with them because there would be nights I didn't even see them, you know, like, so you know how that goes. And then especially on game nights or tournament nights and stuff like that, definitely, you know, didn't see them. So it'd be, you know, most on the weekends. So it's kind of been a blessing, you know, as well, spending that much time with them.
Absolutely. I know most coaches we have plan A, B, C, D. You're getting real nervous when you get to F and G.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of on X, Y, and Z going,
exactly.
Okay, like it's time, let's go.
Yeah.
So now you guys, as your district and most of the districts around here now, have all gotten the green light to start phase 1 of conditioning.
Right.
So what is your mindset? What is your battle plan now going into conditioning?
For us, that's only the winter sports, so only football, boys volleyball, girls volleyball, I think tennis and cheer or something like that. Oh, phone's going off. And so it's just that, and basketball and the spring sports have to wait until phase 3. When they're in phase 3, then we can start phase 1 and that kind of stuff. So we probably won't start till November, December. We don't play till March anyways. So that's been kind of weird. And, I talked about it with several people lately. Like, it's kind of weird. We're going to have 2 seasons in a year.
Yep.
And literally, we're going to finish the end of May. I was just talking about my dad about it because he looked on Max Preps and was like, you guys are playing till the end of May. And then we'll have a 2-week dead period in June, and then summer, and then fall league, and then play again. So it's going to be kind of weird not having, all the time off and everything to get ready. But I just hope, I hope and pray we still get a season and we still get to, actually have that season and get to play the next season. So, I think we will the way things are going, but who knows in the crazy world that's going on right now. So.
Yep. I mean, if you talked to me in June, I was much more hopeful in June than I was on July 1st.
Oh, yeah.
So everything can change, absolutely. So obviously we have a very stacked, very compressed 2 seasons instead of 3. Are you guys affected at all where you might have a baseball or a soccer player now that usually would be able to play with you guys that now you have to share, or is there any
track? So track's going to be a problem because at the same time I have 2 or 3 track athletes that are going to have to choose pretty much. So they've already been trying to figure that out. If they could do both. Like right now you're allowed to do both, but they're going to figure out when the track meets are and when the basketball games are and practices. And but it's tough with basketball. You got to beat every practice, and then track too. So and our track team's really good every year. They've won state. They've won CIF a bunch of times. So he wants them all there too every day. So that's going to be the tough one. I don't really have any baseball players now. I did before, but I have a bunch of football players and stuff like that play both. So that's not going to affect us. But so a couple of the basketball players play volleyball. So normally they would play it after the season, in the spring. So it's going to be tough because before I coached girls volleyball too, and then basketball, and then boys volleyball. So now it's all condensed. So, but I think we have enough athletes at the school. It shouldn't be a problem. But I can imagine at some schools, a lot of smaller schools, it's going to be tough because you got to field all those sports and you don't have enough athletes. So
absolutely, I have several private schools that I work with, and they're sitting there like, I usually have one coach do 4 sports.
Yeah.
And if they have 200 athletes on campus, they're lucky.
Right.
And those 200 athletes are now trying to be spread over 17 sports, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to, because see, I've said, you only get 8 hours of practice, period, per week, plus your games. Well, okay, how does that look if you have a track person that's also trying to do basketball?
Right.
It sounds great on paper, but everyone can have a plan until we get punched in the mouth.
Exactly.
And then when it's hot, or when you now are getting home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, you're still supposed to be able to do your homework and get up the next. It's going to be asking a lot of kids and parents that frankly are flexing new muscles that they've never had before.
Yep.
Having Amanda Waters from Mater Dei on the program last week, her number one thing she was telling everybody was have patience.
Yeah.
Because nobody's been through this.
Exactly.
And so just try.
They don't even know in the NFL or NBA.
Yeah.
Like they're dealing with it, or NBL, or the Major League Baseball. They've never had cases come up where you can't play games. They don't even know what you do or how long you quarantine or that kind of stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
If the greatest minds in our country and in our sports don't know, I don't expect anyone to.
Exactly. So
now we're going into the season. What is your hope, expectation? How's the team looking for this year from where you're sitting today in October?
So 2 years ago, like I said, we were in the open division and I had 9 seniors. And we were really good. I had those guys all 4 years. So didn't have a lot of chance to develop the younger group. Except for one of them, I had Derek Nettles, and another one, a senior, Jelani, that had only played varsity. So last year was, kind of going through the ringer. I don't play, soft tournaments or weak tournaments. So we're playing at Awanda. We're playing, we're playing at Bosco against top teams from out there. We're playing at Damien against top teams in that. And I'm trying to get them ready for Division I. So our first round playoff game this year was J. Sarah. And they're second in the Trinity League, and they got 7 D1 players. So I had to get them ready. We lost that game by 4 or 5, and we just watched it, in fact, on Zoom. Because we were on Zoom, I'll watch huddle games with them and stuff and go over stuff right now. And so, and I have them watch their huddle. But we're going to be really experienced now, because I think they went through it all last year. The first tournament was so bad last year, probably the worst I've ever seen, because they were all scared. They've never played a varsity game before, and we're playing top, decent teams, and they'd only play JV, so a lot of them were real tense, real scared and stuff like that. But I have a good group coming back. I got 6'8" Derek Nettles, he's gonna be a senior. Jalen McCree is a senior. David Bell, another shooter, he's a senior. Those are the 3 seniors I got really, and then I got another young group. I got a ton of juniors. My leading scorer, Kamani Davis. I have a sophomore, Joshua Robinson. He's about 6'8", and then my point guard's back. Actually, both point guards are back, and then just added some pieces here and there too that are real good. So I have a deep 10 or 12 guys that can go. So it's kind of unfortunate. We all in the spring and summer we would do tons of individual development.
Mm-hmm.
We're always in the gym. We have a shooting gun. We're constantly working out every day, and we haven't been able to do that. So that's been, I think, the roughest part.
Absolutely. So how do you get them up and running? Because, like, talking to coaches across the Inland Empire right now, everyone is trying to figure out that recipe of, okay, what is too much? What is too little? What is bringing along too slow? What is going way too fast? What can that championship expectation look like when you guys can actually turn the lights back on?
Oh, yeah, because I know Duffy, our football coach, they worked out last week. They started. And, from what I heard, there was a lot of guys puking on the track.
Yep.
in the first hour,
I've been to 6 campuses in the last 2 days, and I've seen a lot of green on dead grass.
Yep. A lot, I would say half of them were still working out anyways, going to parks and working out together, and the other half didn't. And those half are not ready. Same thing with our guys. Like, I can't make them work out, but a lot of them have been meeting at parks, meeting at different places. Some of them play club. Because, club basketball and volleyball still been going the last 2 or 3 months.
Everyone just goes to Arizona.
Exactly. So a lot of them have been going to Arizona. In fact, our team's going to Arizona as a club team end of this month, and then to Vegas in November, December as a club team. So they're going to play in that because we got invited. But it's been tough to practice, or have practices, or even their club teams have a hard time finding a gym to practice at, or all the rims of Mobile are taken down. So, they're still up in Menifee. And still some in Riverside, I see them up, but it's been hard for them to even get out to a park and go play, so like we did when we were kids, just go play at the park. But it's just been a rough 6 months because, like I said, getting them the first 3 or 4 months was tough because no one wanted to leave the house. Yeah. So even like, hey, go work out, their parents were like, nope, we're not going anywhere. So I think everybody's eased up a lot. These last two months for sure. August, September, a lot of people eased up. Like you said, in June, people were like, yes, it's all done. Wait, just kidding. There's another spike.
And then we had a spike and everyone's like, ooh, hold on. I actually went to Arizona, to Sedona and Grand Canyon, like during that time, right before the Arizona spike. And people were like, you're going to Arizona? I'm like, we're at the Grand Canyon. There's 10 people there. I'm sure we'll be fine. So I'm good at social distancing when there's a canyon in between.
Exactly, yeah. So that was actually a fun trip. So, and normally in the summer I don't get a lot of trips like that. We usually do one because all June is basketball. Then volleyball starts in July. So usually didn't have a lot of free time to go on a lot of trips. So we kind of did that as a family this year too. A lot of beach trips, a lot of traveling and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. But getting these guys to work out was kind of a challenge. Getting them rides, getting them places because I can't do it for them. So. But I think a lot of them have been doing it, on their own. They'll send me videos, like on the Zoom meetings. I'll send them workouts and stuff like that of to do. But now that the gyms are opening back up, a lot of them have been going to that too. So, but yeah, as soon as the lights get back on, there's probably gonna be some throwing up. Yep. But they're gonna have to get back in shape real quick because we're probably going to have December, January, and February to get ready. Absolutely.
I know, talking to Dio, and you touched on it earlier about the mental preparedness.
Yeah.
Where, yes, there's physical preparedness, but then you talk about the first time JV players go on a varsity game against a J Sarah, and everyone's like, oh, how do you work with the mental? Yes, Rancho Verde does a great job of supporting, saying you can have an NCAA career. Here's how, this is the roadmap. But talk to me a little bit about the mental game of envisioning yourself in those big situations. How do you prepare? Because that's one of the toughest things I have with training officials is, okay, you've been in a gym, you've been on a field with 100 people in the stands.
Yeah.
Welcome to your first JC game on a Friday night where you have 10,000 people now. Yeah. All of a sudden you go, oh, how do you work on that mental vision, that toughness, that preparation?
We watch a lot of film, I take them to college games. We go to CBU games all the time, UCR games, Cal State Fullerton games. So we go and watch games like that and sit there and watch the whole game and talk about it. But I think it's just experience. Like, honestly, like I said, that's why I think it would be a lot better this year, because they went through it all last year and it's not brand new to them.
They're not in awe of the situation.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, we've done all that, so we're going to be more ready. But, especially young players now, like, it's tough. Like, the mental game is probably the toughest part. But we have meetings weekly in my room, in my classroom, and we'll talk about, like I said, other stuff besides. We'll talk about, just how you get mentally prepared for games, things to put in your mind while you're there. We'll meditate, stuff like that, envision making the last shot or whatever that is. But I think, the mental game is probably the biggest thing, especially with social media now, because a lot of young players want to, I see him, I can do that. Well, no, you can't, you're not even close to that yet. But yeah, with social media, it's like a lot of them are overhyped too.
Yep.
So we'll play kids that are all on social media, and then we play him. I'm like, he's not that good.
Yeah.
So
social media is the 1%. If you're not doing the other 99,
right,
then it means nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I always have tough kids and a lot, really good athletes. So that always helps. And then keeping them on track is in the classroom, and the mental thing is probably the hardest part though.
Absolutely. So the last question, it's always the same for everyone. If you could give one message of hope or encouragement to your players, fans, family, boosters, community, what would it be?
That's a tough one. Putting me on the spot with that one. I just hope and pray that we have a season this year, for sure, and we can come out and show how good we are and what all the guys have been working on. And then just, I would just say have hope and that things are going to get better. So a lot of people were, I think, in this, we talked about it when school first started, a lot of kids were hopeless. We're never going back to school. We're never going back. I think it'll eventually, real soon, we'll be back to normal. So as long as you have hope and just keep staying safe and keep doing what everybody's been doing, then I think we should be good. But on top of that, for my players, I'm real proud of them. A lot of them have stepped up. Even in last year, they stepped up big time. Just as people, like I said, I'm more proud that they've become really good human beings rather than just athletes and jocks or whatever. So and then just Rancho Verde in general. I'm just excited to get back because that's like a second home to me. I think most coaches feel that way. Yep. Just really excited to get back, and because that's my favorite part of the day. Usually is meeting, talking to everybody at lunch, talking to everybody before school, talking to all my guys, and talking to all the basketball guys, and being at practice is probably the best day. So just can't wait till that happens again.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the program. Happy National Coaches Day, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Great day to be here.
If anyone wants to be on the program, please reach out. Past that, be safe. God bless.